Halifax fans, Dave Larder here. Great to be invited to play a part in this 10-year anniversary of us winning the big grand final. Just like to thank all the fans for all the support. I had 6-7 fantastic years at the club and was probably the best times of my life. And to finish probably my career lifting that trophy on behalf of the club and behalf of the lads was probably one of the proudest moments, certainly the proudest moment in the game of rugby league. I'll have to get down to the season when we kind of get back to normality, but for now, just wishing you all the best during these difficult times, and I'll get down to the club in the next 12 months and look forward to seeing you then. Cheers, guys.
Hi guys, Halifax fans, Rob Warrington here. I can't believe it's been 10 years already since that wonderful magical day of the grand final, 2010. Something that's going to be etched in my memory for a lifetime. It's a special day for me, a special day for my family, and it's something that I sort of look back fondly on. Just want to wish you all the best and hope that you're well during this time of pandemic. Keep the faith, you know, we'll be back soon. Rugby League will be back in 2021. I want to wish you all the best and hopefully this video gets to you in good health.
Hey guys, it's Ben here. Yeah, I'm just sending out a bit of a chat about the 10-year reunion. I don't know what to say. It's been a long time. 10 years ago when we won that grand final, so still in my head, the memories, and you know, it's still like it was just yesterday. And you know, it was a great performance and a great team game. So you know, it's a bit upsetting that this COVID hit this year, because it would have been nice to come back over and celebrate with you guys, but it's not to be. I'll be over as soon as this is over. I bet you that now. So I just want to say a big hi to everyone there, and thanks to everyone, the club, all the fans. I had one of the best 10 years in England, and you know, 8 of them years were with Halifax. So you know, that's like my second home and always will be. So I just want to thank everyone so much for a great experience, a great time, and obviously you know, I found my wife and we've got 3 lovely kids, or 4 kids, you know, and if it wasn't for me coming over there in 2004, I probably wouldn't have this wife and I wouldn't have my 3 beautiful kids over there. So you know, it's a great place, Halifax, and you know, the fans helped me through it thick and thin for the whole 10 years I was over there. So I just want to say a big thank you to you guys. You know, you helped me out there so much. It was the best 10 years of my life, obviously, and then to cap it off with that grand final was it was special. To all the people in the club as well, they were amazing to me. They looked after me. You know, at the start when I moved over, I had no idea, and obviously Sarah was my mum. She looked after me pretty well, and you know, paid my bills, did my washing and stuff like that. So you know, she's someone that I you know, really love and respect. So you know, she made me stay there a long time. So yeah. So yeah, thanks guys, and I hope you have a good night or whatever we do with it. Yeah, and I'll see you guys whenever this stuff's over. We'll be straight over. So thanks guys, and have a good night.
In the Championship Grand Final here at the Halliwell Jones Stadium, Warrington. The match will kick off in around about a quarter of an hour's time, and we will be calling one of these two the champions of the championship.
Oh, well, obviously, it's a long time ago now. Yeah, it was just an exciting week. Obviously, you know, you don't get to play many grand finals, so, you know, it's always exciting. And I think the year before we actually played in the grand final against Barrow, so we sort of knew the build-up, what was going to be like. So, you know, it's always challenging and a fun weekend. I mean, a fun week ahead. And obviously playing Featherston was always, you know, the grudge match in the league. So we knew it was going to be a hard match, and, you know, boys are relaxed and just ready to play. And during the whole year, that's what we were like. We were a relaxed team, We got on well, and I think the lead up was just a good reward for us for a good couple of years.
Obviously, turning up, we kind of realised that we'd lost the previous year, but what that did is we knew exactly what we were turning up to be honest with you. So yeah, we were confident.
I think we knew what to expect in a grand final. Obviously, the people that you don't play in a grand final, you don't know how big of an occasion it is. So I think the hype and all that sort of stuff made us more relaxed. The year before we were more excited and ready to go. We didn't know what to expect with the crowds and the lead up to the day. There's entertainment before it and stuff. So when we played in 2010, we knew what to expect. There's media on us all week, and then we got to the game. It was exciting. The fans going crazy. We just knew what to expect, and I think we're just more relaxed. And it just showed on the day.
Like Did said, we arrived and we were quite confident. It was nice to go back there. We went there the previous year, and I think the previous year we made a big effort in terms of what we were wearing. We had like suits on and stuff like that, and it felt like a real, almost like in my mind, I felt like a Liverpool squad when they turned up to the FA Cup final with those cream suits on, and everyone had a bit of a laugh and jeer at them. But the second year, we sort of just concentrated, I think, a little bit more on the field, and we just went in with normal polo shirts on and stuff, and the mood of the camp was quite upbeat.
To be fair, the coaching staff did a really good job during the week. It was in the elimination semi-final. Featherstone had done a number on us. And I think it was Martin Gonzalez and Matt and Borley and Procky at the time. The coaching staff had dissected the semi-final video, and it became evident that we'd made loads of mistakes and give loads of penalties away. But not just give mistakes away and give penalties away. We'd done them at really important times of the game, and in really crucial areas of the pitch. And they kind of ran through us that during the week, and we really started to believe. So
we had a really, really good win against Sheffield the week before, where we scored quite a few tries and we were free flowing in our play, and we went in there with confidence, and I think it helped that we went in there with less pressure on us than the year before, where I think for a lot of people we might have been the favourites against Barrow, whereas I don't think many people gave us a shot against Featherstone. They had a really good squad, and we had a good squad also, but they dominated that year in the league and stuff, and people just thought it was going to be a bit of foregone conclusion.
We had this meeting, and just a massive change of attitude, and I think it brought a load of belief to all the lads. The Sheffield game the week after the semi, where I think we put 30-40 points for us, and obviously helped us, and we were kind of back on track then. So we turned up to the ground full of confidence. I thought we started without jumping ahead. I thought we started the better team as well. And then obviously Rob scored his try. And I thought the first 15-20 minutes we were probably the better team, and I think that gave us confidence as well. I think we turned up to the game totally confident and thought we'd got a good chance of winning. I think the other thing as well, I think, at times teams can be too guilty of looking at the opposition, and that's probably one of the things that we did in the semi-final when we lost to Featherstone at Post Office Road, that we probably thought about ourselves, and going back to what I said about, Matt and the rest of the coaching staff trying to break down, what had gone wrong in the semi-final. Going up to the final, we probably focused more on us as opposed to the opposition, and trying to get things that we'd planned and get our own games right. I think sometimes if you look at the opposition, you spend so much time focusing on what the opposition do and what they can do, that you kind of lose sight about what you're there to do. And I think, again, leading into this final, we all wrapped up, and I think everyone knew what the jobs were going to be. And I think there was a lot more focus on what we were going to do as opposed to what Featherstone were going to do. And like Rob said, we turned up in his polo shirt and tracksuit. And we'd been there the year before, so we knew exactly what to expect once we turned up at the ground. It wasn't alien to us, so yeah, I think, like I said, we got off to a pretty good start, and without jumping ahead, Rob's try kind of, it really helped us, and we kind of cracked on from there.
The start of a game is always going to be tough. It's a grand final. Everyone's, going to keep it simple and play simple footy. And obviously, it took to the 20th minute to have Rob do something special that he does, plenty of times during the year. Used his speed, got out of dummy half and just ran down that sideline. So, that was a good start for us. And I think that was a good, just a bit of a confidence boost for us going into the last 20 minutes. But then obviously the next 20 minutes was a bit of bizarre.
You look at Rob's try in the first, in the first half. We knew Rob could do that. It's absolutely probably one of the best tries I've ever seen, and there's probably only someone like Rob Warrington that could score that.
Gratian stabs the kick through, and Royston all very nearly undone by that bounce, and only just managing to get out of trouble.
Oh, he does a fantastic job there. Lovely footwork.
And Warrington is away. Warrington, can he go outside Hardman? And Hardman just manages to tap him. But now then, Gratian comes back. Across comes Hardacre. Warrington for the line. Warrington will score the first try of the game. Another length of the field effort from Rob Warrington. He did it against Sheffield. He's done it against Featherstone Rovers. And after Shan Royston only just managed to get out of trouble in his in-goal area, it was Rob Warrington getting try number 25 of the season. Talk about turning defence into attack.
Well, it's one of those, isn't it? At the time, I didn't. It won't go through my mind that I'm going to go the length here. First and foremost, I've got to give Shad, he's probably one of the best fullbacks I've ever played with. He was just in the right place at the right time. It would seem all the time, and he made a great effort to get out the in goal. And all that was in my mind was just to sneak a few yards and get us a bit further up the field, and a gap just sort of opened, and before I know it, I'm through, and I'm seeing Hardman in my sights, and I'm thinking, right, I'm going to try and straighten him up and go around the outside of him, but I didn't even get my angles quite right. So he managed to clip me, and at that point I thought, I don't know if I'm going to make it here, and then I just managed to kick on again, and yeah, it was a special moment. It's one I'll never forget. People talk to me about it all the time, and it literally just went in a blink of an eye, and the atmosphere I can remember, and at the time I broke through, it seemed like the ground was absolutely silent. I was so focused on trying to get around the outside of him and get over the line that everything seemed to sort of slow down for a moment for me. But yeah, it's probably the most memorable try I'll ever score, and probably my favourite try I've ever scored. I went to uni with a guy, and he sort of followed my career all the way through me being at uni and leaving uni, and I played at the Halifax Jones for Sheffield in the playoff game, in a League One playoff game. And I remember him saying to me, if you score, with it being a televised game, I can't be there, but if you do something, I want you to do this for me. So in the back of my mind, I said, right, yeah. And I ended up scoring 2 on that day. So I had to do it at least once for him. So we stayed in touch. I moved on from Sheffield, joined Halifax, and then I told him we're in the grand final again. And he said to me, right, if you score in the grand final, you've got to do the John Cena, you can't see me. And I thought, I can't do that. It's like, you've got to do it. Like he says, you score, you do it, and good things happen. So it kind of, like I said, everything went blank. That's immense concentration. And after I got over the line, it was the first thing that came into my mind was that I'm going to do that. And it seemed fitting, and it's something that people still do to me now and wind me up about. But it was a lad called Daryl Jones that I went to uni with who came up with the celebration and sort of the motivation for the celebration.
Okay. There's a fire in the sky.
Is there a fire? Is there a problem?
Sam, there's a fire in the sky.
So there is, in actual fact, this is not, let's just be clear about this, this is not crowd trouble. This stand the PA is saying is being evacuated for safety reasons.
I don't know. To be fair, I think Rob Hicks was the ref at the time, and I think sometimes you're transfixing the game. You fail to kind of realise it at times, and obviously it became apparent that there was something up.
Well, we didn't know what was going on, to be fair. Someone said there's a fire, the game's going to be cancelled. We didn't know if it was going to finish or we're going to have to play next week or on the Monday, Tuesday. We didn't know what was going on. So obviously we got told to get off the field. We went into the dressing sheds, had a breather, I guess. And at that time, I think we were down 16-4 or whatever it was. So it was probably a good thing for us at that time because Featherstone did have a bit of a roll on. And we came out after the fire and basically we just started the grand final again, and that's where we came from. And
I think there's certain times in games where opposition teams really start to get on top, and it's how you weather that storm. And we were hanging on. So it probably came at a good time for us, to be honest with you. But then it presents its another self of the problem because you sat in the change rooms and you don't know how long you're going to be there. I mean, I don't know how long we were off, Rob. Were we about 15, 20 minutes, I think?
Yeah, well, it was strange that. It was...
Yeah, so...
Had all the emotions going through you that, this game stopped, why is it stopped, what's happening, and trying to sort of keep focus and keep your adrenaline levels high, but there was so much uncertainty and there was murmurs that it might be called off and stuff, so I'm thinking, we're going to have to play this whole game again and gear ourselves up and get ready, and there's all sorts going through your head, and then before you know it, we're back out again.
Yeah, there's nothing much you can do. It's you just sat down, and then obviously Matt and the coaches will probably get a few key messages across and try gather your thoughts and get some water on board and try think, but ultimately it set you back in your mind, and you realise you don't know if you're going to be back on in 5 minutes or back on in 20, 25 minutes. So it's a difficult situation. But ultimately that's what we're dealt with. You've got to deal with it, haven't you?
I think when we went in there, Callan just said to us, believe in yourselves, because we were a kind of team that could score tries whenever we wanted. Our defence was really good in patches, and we just had that bad 10-minute patch where Featherstone, who were a great side, who beat us 3 times during the year. So we knew they could score points. So we just had to regroup, like I said, believe in ourselves and come out and start again. And that's what we did. It was a funny kind of thing. We knew we could come out and beat them. That wasn't a problem. It was just whether our heads were switched on. And luckily we came out after that fire and put on some good tries.
It's just trying to encourage players and just trying to make us see that we're still in this game and we've got the ability to win this game. And I think a big thing Matt tried to do was try to get us to believe in his own sort of ability and what we could do. And if we're playing at full capacity, then we can win this game. And it was just going around and trying to keep people motivated and focused on what's going on. With a couple of stoppages and just distractions, sometimes you lose focus, so you go away from a game plan or you go away from your own individual game. And I think Matt did really well at trying to keep people focused and trying to keep it, like I say, trying to motivate people. He's got his own way of doing that, and it's a bit unorthodox that some other coaches don't do, but I think it worked really well. And playing under Matt Callan was always an enjoyable experience for me.
I think that's the difficulty, because you build yourself up, and any rugby player will tell you the same. You build yourself up to get on that pitch, and some people it comes really natural to them, and some people it doesn't, and they really have to focus on getting themselves ready and getting themselves switched on. So to be sat in the change rooms for 20, 25 minutes, and at the time we didn't really have any end goal. We didn't know, you didn't know whether you were going back on. You didn't know anything, and then all of a sudden you kind of hear little messages and rumours going around that we should be all right. And I think then we had about 5 minutes, didn't we, to warm up. We just did some hands drills and stuff like that on the pitch, and then you're kind of back into it.
Bizarre thing for a grand final with the fire, but that was what happened. So we had to deal with it. But I think the second half, obviously, when we watch it, that's when we turned it on.
I think also what it does is we weren't a very conservative team anyway at the best of times. But you're losing 22 points before you've you've got to chance your arm a bit, and that's what we started doing.
That's just a typical game of us. I think we played better when we just played footy. Callan gave us a game plan which we stuck to, and it was a really good one. But I think as the game got on, as the time we thought, we've got to start playing footy again. And luckily for me, when Frank gave me that offload, Holly just threw it to me, and I just ran and hoped for the best. And luckily it came off. And like always, Shad was always up the middle. All year he was, off my hip all the time. So
Shad does awesome here. Rob's he did well for his try, but there's not many people want to put that down. You're losing the grand final, and your fullbacks. Everyone's desperate to try change the game, and your fullback Blackie goes through, passes it to Shad inside, and it'd have been so easy, Shad, just to put that ball down. It'd have probably got done for a double movement, and that chance has gone. But he just managed to hold himself off, and then, like I said, Blackie just pops over.
Having lived with Blackie as well, he's a great bloke, and his heart's all for rugby league. But he was very much like myself, a bit of a confidence player, and he needed a sort of big moment to sort of probably spark him and make him realise that he can make a difference in this game. And I think that was the moment there that sort of brought Blackie back into the game fully, and sort of made him sort of realise that right, I can change this game. And he sort of grabbed it by the scruff of the neck, and I think that they lifted everybody after that.
It was a lucky thing, and probably a game breaker during the game. I think we've got a bit of confidence
after that break, and him going in for that try. You could just see the body language change between the two teams, and sort of went up a gear, and Fev then started to sort of look over the shoulders and be, a little bit, what's going on here? Are they on or they're not? And then we just grew straight back into this game after that.
We just believed in each other, and we just said to each other, we can do this, and we played simple footy but effective footy and threw the ball around, and it paid off. And with the quality in our side, we had Pinky running out of dummy half, we had Shad backing up, we had Rob doing strong carries, Paddo on the wing. I could go through everyone. We just had a really good side, and really close mates. We stuck together, and I think that's what got us through, just believing in each other, and just being so close to each other.
With the team spirit that we had there, that had been gradually built, and it's like I said to you earlier on, that's not an 8-month thing or a 9-month thing. It was a 3-4 year thing that we were gradually building, and during that period of time, we managed to keep the majority of our players and kept adding the odd one. So we didn't have a massive transition of players over a 4-year period. And what that built is it just built this absolute immense team spirit that ultimately came from Matt and Martin Hall. And what that did is it brought a real togetherness, and it brought a lot of belief to us as well. But we also forget we had some really, really quality individual players. That can ultimately turn games on its head, and that is ultimately what happened.
Obviously, this was just the start of, our believing that we can come back from, 22-4 down, whatever it was. So, and obviously, like you said, we're running towards the fans. The fans were jumping out of their seats, and it's like a player there. So we had our vision of them,
We stuck together, and ultimately these boys that I'm talking about kind of came to the races.
Holroyd hoists that one. It's a deep one. Oh, and Hartman's made a mess of it, and Black is onto the ball, and they are in for another one. It's Brannigan under the posts. It's another 6-pointer surely for Halifax. The Fax fans now at that end of the ground cannot believe what they're seeing.
We were like a team of confidence, so I think when we scored again, and we scored again, and we scored again. There was plenty of times during the year we were, same score down against, the lesser teams, but we just sort of said, once we scored one, we scored again, then we scored again, and we just rolled over teams, and that's what we started here. We just started to get on top of them, and Featherston didn't like it, so we just kept doing what we did best, and it paid off.
No, just seeing Luke Brannigan there, that was another one that I think Matt made a decision in the week. I I'm trying to wrap my brain now because I don't think Brano played in the semi.
No,
Brano in the
Brano
centre.
Well,
Brano in the centre, didn't he?
And had Holly and Blackie at halves, which
yeah,
fair play to Brano. Was a bit gutted, he'd signed to play at 6 and stuff, and
yeah.
It's difficult not playing the position you want, but I think he played a vital role in it out there as well, and sort of took the opportunities he had, and but that was the quality we had at Halifax at the time, that you'd have players like Brano who would have to play out of position, and
that just says that says it all. Like we had an NRL former NRL player playing in the centres, so but in saying that, we had a good blend over the whole park. Cullen picked a side to win a grand final, and he did well.
The coach had a headache most weeks about which side he would pick, and he had quality all over the park. He had centres, wingers competing. You had back rowers who'd want to get in there, and it was always difficult. And you were never certain of your place in the side, because there were, you have a bit of an off game or a couple of off games, and there's someone who's willing to step in and play out their skin and try and hold the opposition down. We just had a fantastic squad, and you look at the likes of Penke in the middle, Glees, Bob Bezic. You've got 3 nines there who would dominate at any championship team. Over the last 4 or 5 years, they were formidable players, and it just spoke volumes for the team unity we had. That we had all these players and didn't really have any big egos or anyone who thought they were bigger than the side. We all sort of chipped in, and we all had the same belief, and at the end of the day, we were rewarded with a dramatic grand final win.
Yeah, well, obviously we did it all year. We had 5 quality halves that could play or do anything on their time, and it just paid off. I think, and it's just more the experience, and we all had confidence in each other. If someone did something, we just let them go. We didn't complain, we didn't argue with each other. We just knew, sometimes it paid off, sometimes it didn't, and then. We're just lucky in this pit here when Holly put one of his trademark kicks up that Hardman had no idea, and we were full of confidence here, chasing that ball, and it paid off. And we got the bounce, and we had 5 or 6 players I could have passed it to there. So Breno was just a lucky one.
From a kick-off set as well, for you to. Usually a kick-off set, you're looking to conserve fieldage, territory by the defending team, and the opposing team, you're looking to try and get the ball back down in that area and make them work from their own goal line. But if you can go in a yardage set, go down the other end and score again, you've done fantastically well. And I think it's credit to those big men in the middle. They don't get enough credit. We had some absolute grafters who wouldn't be sort of the names in the headlines, but they used to do the things week upon week that would give the likes of myself and Blackie and she had the opportunity to flourish. You had Did, you had Dave Wrench, you had Frank, you had Cherryome, and they all did the hard yards, so we could do all the dancing at the back and do the diving and celebrating. The hard work they put in is it's often on the looks, but me as an outside back, I flourished on that.
Definitely, what's going on in the last 10 minutes? It's weird. It's easier to say now when you watch it, but there's only one team winning here. We are absolutely bouncing here.
The momentum got to that point that you just knew that it was almost like who were going to score. Like you just felt that someone was going to bust over and get through, and it was just a case of we had to sort of not compose ourselves, but make sure that we executed properly, because we had a couple of chances as well where we could have potentially blown it, but the momentum and the self belief at this point was just you could feel that something big was going to happen in those last moments of the game.
I think that's the confidence as well. What Rob's just said, you can see. When Rob was saying that, you can see a clip behind the sticks, and you can see all the lads start buzzing, and there's a massive change in thought process here. And there's a bomb goes up, Hardman drops it, and again Blackie's come to the forefront and put Brano in.
It was just a good feeling. We showed them what we could really do.
remember having a word with Matt during the week, and he said, I'm thinking of playing Brano at centre. I was a bit unsure, if I'm being honest, of putting him in the centre because he'd not played there before all season. He was absolutely awesome defensively. You know, Matt turned around to me and says after the game, he said, I told you Brano's were right decision. He didn't miss anything down that channel, and he came up with, obviously, the try, and then he came up with a key play for Danny's try, didn't he? He kind of in the middle and shifted out and did an in and away and opened it up for for Steve Bannister. So yeah, he had a really good game that day, and which probably goes underlooked to say he was playing in a position that he's not used to.
Coming up towards the last 5 minutes of this game. And now here is Brannigan. Brannigan for Bannister, and Bannister has the try. And Halifax have come back from being on the ropes and taking a pummeling to surely level this with a kick to come.
That's just the side we were, you know. We just had faith in other people to step up at the right time and deliver that, you know, that crucial play.
I think over a game as well, it evens itself out in terms of, you know, bounces of the ball and stuff like that, and, you know, half chances and opportunities missed and taken, and you know, 12 months ago we were there, and we sort of let ourselves down in sort of the way we've played. And our composure was totally not there. So I think sometimes people say you take a lot out, you should take stuff out of defeat, and I think the feeling of being there 12 months ago and that feeling at the end of the game, I think that resonated with me a lot, and it sort of drove me on in that game.
Probably an element, a bit of luck in there. You know, you kind of look back over the last 3 tries, you know, with the drop bomb and Blackie's break, and then Shab not making that double movement thing. You know, some people turn around and say you have a bit of luck. The other way you could say it is no, everyone knew exactly what they were doing at any given time, and we were clinical. We were clinical and took us chances.
You know, the talk between our team was just so relaxed. It wasn't rushed or anything like that. You know, we still had 20 minutes to play, so it's still a lot of football. You know, and with 2 quality teams like that, we knew what was coming. We knew Featherstone would throw a lot at us, and they had some strike all over the park as well. But we just stuck strong, and like you said, we knew in ourselves that if we stuck with them, we're going to get a couple more tries. And obviously with 5 minutes to go, I think it was, you know, Brano did something special, like I was saying, playing centre, and he's, you know, grabbed the ball and put Bannister through a hole. So
we're saying at this time of things, it's, you know, this is what you kind of build for, and this is why you train and stuff like that. And you'd got 17 players, certainly in that last 20, 25 minutes of the game, knowing exactly what they needed to do and just doing the jobs. And there was no panic or anything like that, absolutely no panic. And everyone knew what they needed to do. Everyone knew what they needed to do, where we were going. And I think ultimately we knew that if we did that, we'd have no dramas.
The game felt totally different to 12 months ago. You know, like you say, bounces of the ball seemed to go our way at stages, and then, you know, the momentum when we felt that momentum change, it was massive. Everyone could feel it, and 1 through to 17, you knew that, you know, we weren't going to be too far away from it today.
Time maybe for another drive, have they? Is it coming now from Holroyd? Not.
Oh, he's just directing. He wants Big Sam Barlow to set it.
Here it is. The Halifax fans behind those posts, willing this ball to come their way between the uprights. Featherstone hound him down. Holroyd goes for it. The Fax fans hold their breath. It's wide of the target.
Not much in it. Not much in that at all.
I think going back to what I said earlier, I think that's probably the only thing we did wrong in about 15, 20 minutes. We were pretty clinical in everything else that we did. You know, it was always going to be difficult. You see it even nowadays with this golden point ruling and stuff like that in Super League. You know, there's just so many pot shots. So yeah, he just shaves it wide, doesn't he? Unfortunately. they do a job on him. To be fair, they get numbers around him and stuff like that. Put a bit of pressure on him.
Missed it, me, but yeah, it's one of those. It went to
Yeah, all
Ollie.
day.
I thought he'd knock it over me. Thought, right, that's it, Ollie, we've done. We're off. And in my mind, I'm like, we've done it, and he just dragged it wide. I don't know whether he had too much time or whether it were the nerves of the occasion. I'm not sure, but yeah.
I think we were all screaming for the ball, to be fair. Yeah, obviously Holly's, years and years of experience. He's always had a good boot on him. And it was his last game, and Halifax legend. He wanted to do it, which is fair enough. And he just didn't hit it the right. But 9 out of 10 times he would have put that through the grandstand. So obviously it didn't go over. But at that time we still believed in each other that we'll get there.
I think, again, just kind of what's happened in that last 20 minutes of the game. You can see the Featherstone players thinking this won't going to happen. They were already planning their celebrations and stuff like that half an hour ago. And I think, again, if you kind of watch the video through and you get to that period of full time when just before we go into Golden Point, it kind of fixes on us and then it fixes on them, and they just look broken. They look absolutely broken. I think there's a couple of them lying on the floor and they've got their head in their hands. I think there's a photo of Darryl with he's rubbing his head. And we were absolutely, like Rob said, absolutely buzzing. And at this point, I think we didn't want the one team winning it for me, if there is.
I said we didn't want it to stop at this point. We were thinking, God, it gives us another 5 minutes before any stoppages and stuff. Because I thought we had them on really on the back foot and really struggling to deal with us.
So we grouped here, after the siren, and we got lucky. They wanted to kick off. They kicked off, and we were just so relaxed. We knew what we had to do, and we knew we had some big boys like Barlow and Frank, all them big boys who could get quick play the balls. So we were just hoping on for one of them, and obviously Macca, Big McCarley. We just had some strong forwards up front who could carry that ball so good. So it paid off, didn't it?
But there won't be time. There is the hooter. And this grand final has ended 22 points apiece. We will have extra time, Golden Point extra time, periods of 10 minutes each way.
Crazy how the game went, because, like Rob said, we probably wanted the 80 minutes to carry on. As I think as soon as we pulled level, I know there were only, say, 5 minutes left, but I think Darryl had been really pleased to get to full time without us winning the game, because it just been a massive turn in the way the game was going, and like Rob's just said, we were on a massive roll, and in that 80 minutes, once we pulled level, there were another team scoring, and we were probably disappointed, like Rob's just said, that the ref blew his whistle on 80 minutes, and it went to Golden Point.
The adrenaline that was going through you at that time, genuinely, I felt I could have played for another 15, 20 minutes. So you just, once that momentum takes you, the environment there at Halliwell Jones as well, it's the noise, and it was like a cauldron, and sometimes just the noise of the supporters, how loud the supporters are, gives you an extra 3-4% of energy. And I still felt good going into the Golden Point. I know some of the lads went down and were stretching and limbering up, but I think everyone in the camp, genuinely, we looked in better nick going into that Golden Point than what they.
The key thing here, what again's probably gone underlined, is I talked earlier off camera about when we lost against Cass in the Golden Point. Cass in the Challenge Cup game the year before. We didn't touch the ball, so we kicked off. We kicked off to them in Golden Point. We didn't touch the ball. So Featherstone won the toss to go to Golden Point, and they elected to kick off. And ultimately, they didn't end up touching the ball.
All I just remember is, we're just obviously setting up for a field goal. We had a plan to just roll up the middle, quick play the balls,
By this point, like I say, we were making really, really good yards, and then kicked off to us, and you can tell from the first couple of drives, you know that you're onto a good thing here, and we got in good territory to have the first pop, and it was sort of charged down, and then by that point we're in that good field position that where you sort of expect and you think it's going to happen. I didn't at this point. I didn't see them really going the length or going down the other end of the field. We were just in dominant control at this point, and like you say, 90 seconds is pretty quick when you got into golden point. But it's the effort they had to put in to try and contain us within the last 20 minutes of that second half kind of took its toll, and I think that they weren't able to front up as well, and it just allowed us to get real good field position.
But if you see, they kicked off to us and we were just passing the ball willy-nilly. We weren't just doing one-up hit-ups. That's the team we were. We were confident enough to try and get up that field as quick as we could, And if we made the mistake, we made the mistake. We were that confident that we could, make the mistake back and then we get the ball back.
So I think we played the set of 6 out. We had one drop goal left, didn't it? And then it went back go back to 1, I think. And Macca kind of dived on it, and then we got on the next set. But I remember Matt saying that if we win the toss in golden point, make sure they kick to us. And that was just on the back of what had happened at Cass the year before.
Obviously we rolled up the field, went for this field goal here and got charged down. So, that was a lucky, I suppose, pretty lucky for us. And that's it. We didn't panic here. We just got back as we do. People walking back, relaxed. Took these hit-ups as we do. And then, the final moment when I kicked that field goal was, it was pretty special.
Now then, here's Sam Barlow. Oh, this is surely the position now. But it's Black who's going to go for it. Black for the 1 point to win the grand final for Halifax, and he's done it. Ben Black strikes. It hasn't taken Halifax long. And the golden point and the glory goes to Halifax.
So what I said again, the little things that you do, it was Sam Barlow again, just watching it on the clip, just Sam Barlow, see we're setting up here for the drop goal. Is obvious what we're doing. Featherstone know exactly what we're doing. We're trying to deal with it's another thing, and Sam Barlow carries before Blackie before we put the drop goal over. It's awesome here.
See, that play ball there was, that was probably made the kick,
Gets away, gets a bit of a step, falls on his front, plays the ball. It just doesn't. If you look at the drop goal here now in comparison to the one Ollie missed in normal time, there's about 4 or 5, 6 players around Ollie, and in that one, not to get anything away from Blackie, but because of what the work Sam Barlow had done on the play there before, it just allowed us a bit more time, allowed Penke to get, I can't remember who passed the ball, to get it back to Blackie and put it over. That's going back to everyone knowing what they were doing, and Blackie came up with the trumps.
Barlow got the real quick play the ball. So we still had a bit of pressure coming at me, but that play the ball so it was really quick. I just looked up and all you see is blue and white fans, and I kicked it nice and sweet straight over. So it was a moment that I won't forget.
It's when the ball goes over. It's I think in a lot of games you generally know the result either 2 minutes before. I mean, even if you score in the last couple of minutes, you kind of know the result. But the difference between golden points, literally on a knife edge, and just massive emotions. Probably if you think about it too much, there's loads of emotions that you go through at the time.
I think I run past everyone and ran to supporters me. I was just excited. That was 24 months worth of work. People talk about it being a season, but when I signed and when I joined, Matt's vision was to try and win it. And obviously 12 months previously we went really close, but I think it was the icing on the cake to get it 12 months later, and I think the game epitomised the attitude of the club, the never die attitude, the spirit and bond between players, because we took some hammer during the year when we didn't play well, and the Halifax fans have high standards and expectations of the team, and you know, there were players who took some flack for, you know, subpar performances, and there were games that we were expected to win and we sometimes didn't play very well or didn't win in. But I think that journey from, you know, the previous season and getting into a settled side and then continuing and managing to win it the season after was just it was fantastic. An amazing experience.
Probably the biggest one's relief, I think, if I'm being honest, just on the back of what Rob said. You know, to, regardless whether you're best team in the league or not, to do something and win grand finals and stuff like that, people don't realise how difficult it is, and how many hurdles you have to jump over and stuff like that. So to actually win the grand final, especially on the back of the 2009 loss, I think first and foremost mine was relief. You know, there's a lot of hard work going by a lot of people within the club, obviously well supported as well. But there's a lot of hard work going by the players and the sacrifices they make. So winning grand finals is why everyone does it. And just probably a bit of relief on the back of the 2009 loss. And then, immensely relieved, but immensely proud as well to be part of a team that had grafted its nuts off for 2, 3, 4 years, and I think ultimately over that period of time we deserved something, and we got it. No one can take it away from us. It's just heavy. It is very heavy. It's
it was awesome, mate. It's not light, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it was. I remember getting up there and thinking, "What the hell, this is heavy." Just about got above my head.
So we were knackered after the game. It was a tough game, and you know, we obviously all stood up there and we were talking. We were all smiling, happy. You know, we all grabbed this trophy. You know, people kissing it, and that's how much it means to people. You know, like
I think gone into injury time. Golden Point. We were a bit rushed, weren't we? I can remember Sky grabbing hold of us saying, "Come on, get up!" And
by that point, the euphoria, like Dave said earlier, there's so many emotions that go through. There's the relief, the excitement. It was just like a massive adrenaline rush, and you know, you sort of words can't sort of describe the emotions that go through you. As a player, you play to try and win things and try and play to the highest standard you can. And for me, that, you know, I've played one Super League game, but for me that was going to be the highest accolade I could have in the game, and the biggest honour for me to achieve. And it kind of set a high standard for my time at Fax. I think that you kind of get the expectancy that you're going to be in finals football all the time, and having moved on now, I sort of realised how lucky I was to be in that group of individuals and to be on the big stage on so many different occasions and have so many opportunities to be on the big stage. You sort of take it for granted, but you know, during my time there, we managed to get to Northern Rail finals, and you know, we had big games in the Challenge Cup and stuff like that. And at the time when you're doing it, you just sort of ticking off games, and one or two resonate with you, but you look back on it and you think, God, what a time, what an experience that we had, and it was a great group of individuals who were there, and I'll have memories for life.
You know, sometimes you don't even get to play in the grand final, so to play in one's special, and then to win it is amazing. And you know, it was just it was a proud moment to hold up when, you know, your family, you know, your fans and the club are watching you, and yeah, it's like I keep saying, it is special, and it's good memories. And you know, I've got my jersey framed with a photo of me holding that trophy. So, you know, that's in the garage at the moment, but, you know, that'll soon go up in my bar when I get it.
We had to change the jerseys, which I'm glad we did. Probably leads another problem that, though, because it's like, do I get my blue and white one framed, or do I get my black one played in? So we had to change the jerseys up the steps, lift the cup, and then had a few ales.
obviously jersey doesn't really matter on the day, but to show that badge in our blue and white after the game it was pretty special.
I think the one thing that resonates for me is the speed of the day. You spend ages waiting for it to come around and the build up, and the week seemed to go so slow. And every day I was like, I've got it. It's nearly game day, and it just seemed to drag and drag and drag. And when we got there, like the day was almost in fast forward. It's happened so quickly. I know we had Golden Point and we had messing around and waiting in the changing rooms, but when I look back on it now, it just seemed to go so quickly. And yeah, I remember the atmosphere when we came into the ground was just something else. The noise, the volume, and it just everything about it felt like it was going to be a special day and a magical day, and it ended up being a real good day for us. And it could have quite easily gone the other way, but like I said earlier, I think the team spirit and the belief and the things that we'd been through as a camp meant that we weren't going to come undone. From training camps in Northern Ireland to training camps over in Malaga and different things. We had a bit of a unity, and people came and left the squad for various reasons. But I think those individuals that played in that grand final and were part of that squad had fully invested into Matt's belief and into the other players in that squad as well.
I think the funniest thing for us is on the Monday, the lads went round Mad Monday round Edinburgh, and I can remember at the bar in the Halifax Jones after the game speaking to Tony Tonks, who played for them. And I said, "Oh, what are you doing Mad Monday?" He said, "Well, we're meant to be going to Edinburgh, but you lot are going now." So they had to change their Mad Monday on back of us winning. So that's another one we got over them.
Nah, it was a good week after that anyway. Good couple of days, but it's like I said, it's a memory that we'll never forget. And obviously it was 10 years, so that's a special time, and it would have been good to all catch up, but with this COVID, it's not to be. But I'm sure one day there'll be a catch up and a few beers over there, all the memories, and a bit of a laugh. So it was great to be a part of. Yeah, it was great. It was that's one of the big reasons I think we got over the line. If you watch the game, which I've watched probably 50 times, the crowd was amazing. Behind them posts was just, I couldn't describe the feeling. You had that. It was like an extra player on the field. So, they stuck by us thick and thin through the whole year and came with numbers to the grand final. And I'm just glad we repaid them. So.
First time I watched it, you do forget stuff at times. You probably look at it from a more critical eye. I think any sportsman, to be honest, who watches the game, without being too serious, with probably a critical eye. So you pick up things that you could have done, but every time I watch it now, and I've not watched it for a bit, but I'm not one of them people that doesn't watch it. I think it's a massive part of my life, and I do watch it and thoroughly enjoy watching it as well.
We didn't start the game well, but we sure came home with a big bang.
To be honest with you, after the grand final, I didn't watch the final back again for nearly 12 months. For one reason, I still felt nervous watching it after we'd played and won it. It was nerve-wracking for me watching it, and I'm not a big fan of watching myself back. And like Dave says, you're your own biggest critic, and watching the game back, I kind of beat myself up about things that happened and things that I didn't do, and sort of don't give myself that many raps and stuff like that. So it took a while for me to watch it back, but it's one of those things now that I'm incredibly proud of, and wherever I go and whatever I do in life, and it's something that people look at and sort of hold me in high admiration for my involvement in that. And the team sport of rugby league is given me so many opportunities in life and taught me so many life skills. And I think that those group of individuals in the sport of rugby league has done so much for me. And I look back on that day with fondest of memories. And if I could have one wish, I could relive that day again a couple of times. I'd quite happily do that at the expense of something else.
If you speak to most of the lads, they'll kind of echo what Rob said. You know, I was kind of coming to the back end of my career, and I've been fortunate enough to play in the old Premiership finals at Old Trafford with Keithley. I played in a couple of other grand finals as well. Won one with Lee. But certainly that's the most memorable game, and probably the game that I'm look back fondest in. And I think if you speak to a lot of the lads that played in other finals and have played Super League, there's a lot of them that still revert back to that final being the best experience that they've had. And I think that boils down to, again, just to touch on what Rob said, that just for the group of people that were there, it was just a real special time to be at the club. You know, from the coaching staff and the players, we just had this massive bond. And ultimately, I think, you know, you get what you put in, and we certainly deserve something through that 2 or 3 year period. And I think, you know, obviously all those lot are delighted that it happened, but I think everyone that you speak to from that day, and the players still has massive fond memories of it. Special time.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. You know, I talk about it a lot back here to friends and still family when we watch it. You know, that during the year, Featherstone were the benchmark of the team. You know, like us two were the top 2 teams, but we'd never beaten them. So to come from 22-4 down, it's a huge response. You know.
And I think the big thing for me was that it's always been. Fax has always been a family club, and it's always involved the families, and it was great to have wives and girlfriends and family members there with us celebrating at the end, and they made every effort to try make everyone feel part of the experience with your family members and stuff like that, and I'll never forget the sort of my partner at the time, how welcome she felt in the club, and how we felt part of the Fax family as such, and it was just an enjoyable experience coming to watch us, and you know, I think Sarah does a fantastic job of making sure that the other halves and families are looked after and feel comfortable at games, and that allows you as an individual to flourish on the field, because you've got no patience. You know, you've been looked after in every aspect. You know, you've got coaching staff looking after your best interests and trying to keep you sharp, and then you've got Sarah and the team behind there trying to make sure that your assets off the field are looked well, and it just makes for an easy career. If your family are happy, normally you're going to be a happy player as well.
The club were wonderful to every single one of us, really looked after us, and the fans, you know, rocked up every game. We had like one of the biggest fan bases, so, you know, they never let us down. So to give them that, you know, reward was pretty special. And like I said, yeah, it's a day I won't forget, and yeah, I'll cherish that moment for a long time.